Okay, I'm going to show you that I do have a gale shield. Remember Hurricane Matthew? It was a hard, they thought it was going to be like a category 5. Now I live in Melbourne, Florida, so I put the gale shield right around the center with Melbourne in the center. And my estimation, I think the gale shield has many, many layers, but as any hurricane or threat comes closer to me, it intensifies in strength. So here's what happened to Matthew when it hit my gale shield. It was headed straight like a bee's line for Melbourne. And when it got to Melbourne, my gale shield caused it to coast along the coast. Well, in other words, it didn't go inside, and then it weakened, and then it look at this look at how it goes from a 4 to a 2, like wham, and then it just my gale shield just flung it right out into space. So the way these hurricanes operate tells you that I do have a gale shield. You may say, well, it was a very strong. At this time, we were dealing with Angelina Ballerina, who had Antichrist powers and was the leader of the evil Jesuits, and she deliberately created a very strong hurricane to try to knock me out in Florida. But my gale shield defeated Matthew, and Matthew did give us some damage, but it was supposed to be much, much worse. And as you can see the effects of my gale shield. The hurricane was able to get inside of the gale shield, but the gale shield has a stronger repelling effect the closer the threat comes to me. So you can see my gale shield really weakened Matthew. Now let's take a look at Irma. Let's see, Irma, that was, now Irma was also headed towards me, and the gale shield weakened it considerably. As you can see, the gale shield kind of forced Irma to just skirt right along. And it didn't really go towards me. It just skirted along. But last year, my gale shield was a little weak because I used it all up to absorb the Sarakaki, which had the power to destroy the universe 3 times over. So Irma was able to get in, but even so, my gale shield was able to deflect Irma so that I did not get a direct hit. So I'm just showing you that I do have a gale shield, and you can see that it protects me. Okay, let's go to the next hurricane. Now take a look at, let me see, let's go in order here. Let's go with Florence. Okay, now Hurricane Florence is a pretty strong hurricane. And as you can see, what I find really interesting is these weather forecasters are obviously taking my gale shield into consideration, because they predict that by the time it hits the Carolinas, it's going to be down to a 3. How do they figure that out? They think it might even skirt the coast. The hurricane forecasters have had experience with my gale shield, so they know that this hurricane is going to weaken once it hits my shield. So it's right now very strong. It's 4, almost a 5. But my gale shield is stronger this year than it was last year, so it's got more power. So I believe that Laurie McBride Jesuits created Florence hoping they could damage me, but they knew my gale shield would repel it, because my gale shield is stronger this year than it was last year. It's had a chance to strengthen. I've been doing the Gale commandments. And I find the name of this hurricane very interesting, Florence. Did you know that 2 men on my marriage list who are very important in court cases right now, and who are basically slamming the Laurie McBride Jesuits against the wall, are from Florence, South Carolina? They are men that I went to school with at Baptist University of America, and apparently they're giving testimony in court for me, and it's just devastating Laurie McBride. So she's taken revenge and created a hurricane that she's named Florence in their honor, and she's she plans to use Florence to try to devastate their hometown. They're not living in Florence now, but that's where they're from. So this is Laurie McBride's way, or George Soros's way of making a statement about how they feel about these men on my marriage list sticking up for me in court and making Laurie McBride look like the criminal that she is. But as you can see, my Gail shield, they predict that it's going to, I believe she was hoping that she could create a strong enough hurricane that it would go to Florida, but she knew that probably wouldn't happen because of my Gail shield. And as you can see, my Gail shield is deflecting. My Gail shield is stronger this year than it was last year. I hear it's actually taken out Laurie McBride Jesuits worldwide, so it's pretty strong. But I think it has several layers, and when a threat gets closer to me, then the threat has to go through more layers, and the layers are stronger as they get closer to me. So apparently my Gail shield is so strong this year, the hurricanes can't even get near Florida. So this is what's happening to Florence, but it's interesting that they project that it's going to be a 3 by the time it hits. Now, how did they know that was going to happen? They know about my Gail shield, and it's called Florence. Like I said, 2 men on my marriage list are from Florence, South Carolina. Okay, now let's take a look at another hopeful. Helene my Gail shield just flung Helene way out into the middle of the ocean. So my Gail shield is obviously working. And then here is the other one, Isaac. Look at my Gail shield is keeping Isaac just going straight path. My Gail shield, like I said, is really strong this year. So I just wanted to show you this, but pray for the people in the path of Florence. My shield is pretty strong, and I'm not sure what it's going to do to. Let's get back to Florence. Yeah, I'm not sure what it's going to do to Florence when it gets closer. When it starts getting closer inside my Gail shield. They expect it to weaken to a 3, but apparently Laurie and the George Soros Jesuits made this a really strong hurricane, and they were hoping they could overcome my Gail shield. So we'll see what happens. I think my men are probably also working like as hurricane hunters and going out there and trying to do what they can to weaken this hurricane. So just pray for my men and pray for the people in the Carolinas. And my Gail shield is helpful. As you can see, it looks like it's keeping the hurricanes away from Florida where I live. But anyways, I'm just showing you that I do have a Gail shield. It started becoming powerful after I obeyed the Gail commandment starting in around April 2016. And I've had it ever since then. And it's part of my genetic profile. So pray for the people in the path of this hurricane. But I wanted to show you that my Gail shield does influence the hurricanes. You might say, oh, well, I find it interesting how none of them are able to get near Florida right now. Like I said, my Gail shield is stronger this year than it was last year.